Peace FM 104.3. Who to meet
Abra Bisa said there's hope for women. Yes, I've been emphasizing that all along. Say, I don't know any boys brigade in a year. Until the area, or say, you be now. At least we have a lot of women representing the man or woman. And yes, omoya man so keke. But it's important say you bring that kind of representation. Where national at the end here, and could we say a bear man kwa, and I'm paying for unqua, and unqua, or say a mixture of all, ne take tribal consideration, other consideration into account. It is something I've been emphasizing, and the president is very strong in that. The last year, the reports in the court. Share idea now. No. I didn't. The SMBM. They confirm. I'm right. We have to extend our time and bring additional people. Some of the women had the opportunity to serve under the first one because of that policy. Now, you understand policy, because you can policy rate. The Bank of Ghana rate obia ni ho a obetumi above besia less than that interest. So since you're about 13.5 nti no year floor bank bia ni ho a obetumi above besia emana aba form asensa. So in the first now 14.5 no. Now just a bank bia ebo bebesia interest obeje no or funny foundation fee 14.5 into obo so bet you agi be say 18.5, 20.5, 30.5. And then no policy rate na about 13.5 no. Now just a first no na nke 14.5 say 20.5 na banks them otumi so the ba 19 because okobo besia ewo Bank of Ghana begging 13.5 instead of 14.5. On the not just say besia bono ye ko ye nim no ebeba formed by 100 points units rate. So hence anytime a policy rates no ebeba form no a measure aban no na Bank of Ghana to encourage people to borrow more because ebema interest rate no aba form. Interest rate in the form and no now so JBC now the year juma o sika obetua back to the bank no en kosoro bebre na ma onfa so no so akosoro enti abroche ne nema no say 100 unit basis enya sanke to aho but ha no sometimes no unse policy rate at 13.5%. We be na bank bi kra bobisi around 34%, 35%. So, the monitoring unit of Bank of Ghana, no, so no, here so umbekoso a dingo for each now because a tip policy rate by 100 units basis now effects on the lending rate now for sobe and also.
Maybe sir banker be explanation the man say apart from say policy rate no ever form no and you may be or why a can ho emma
to amount to 20 so.
Because I can be for data say borrower na or no urbano and ka bia ye want national Ghana card is say and as our data no readily accessible my banks na on bet me afan easily and ka and also bet me my number from but we know a bit just say the bank company be and no so and open and work out to feel ho ne bon so edin
there are a lot of banks need taking on their policy. Even the same bank, depending on the credibility and integrity of the company and our individual, no, utuminya rate is SN and yonko.
Okay.
Obi oha ne debt profile history. It to me because of Jibesiana utia. This nipa no born a besia. Who nim say who I wish you say nipa no betua nti ono say interest rate no o ma na nkosoro o betumi ate so aman obi so a hwɛ ne pro ne your friend is saying ne borrowing history now wow person the man na ade be man no because ono obegye no kra o sam a bribe aka na just one person obegye esika no you understand ti ni nyina na the kind of guarantee a ode be man no enso hu hia obi o akoma guarantee a ene busia ni nyina ye pepepe unse na akwa we wa hia because people and in this country there are people whose business it is to go around banks take money from them with even fake guarantees omuntia if you want to make oje ade o de be guarantee no enya correct until later how you share kra hu no kra na wakoje usika and a lot of settings goes on until noti so apart from the bank no the central bank nothing the policy rate no sa niema way encourage banks no mo so nte so go ni pa no kra no o de man 0% crowd principal crowd sanka so nti eno mo ye ina say we very good credit rating companies are said ya okay nka hu yin aposa okoji obi ID card obi alba yetumi a profile who say oh credit rate any u gibesian e bia ya ma percentages do be even na gibesian na we ntua na ya blacklist you understand and these are things as we move on you to mean developing do in the banks ma besian e na lotto no mu twa o e na lotto because be assessment na one here so you decide say ma besian so na e bia nipa krokra who deny no ko no put anko betia it is our credit history bureau no ya dia ho hia pa say no wo ho a nka 13.5 go banks betia am betia kra 15% because nipa no betia but because of high risk of default in no into be here no dey cut 30%. It is said all kind nipa kra only kasa as a banker no no cre say there are a lot of other things mitigating against granting of loans at a lower level because ebia trust lending history ne niema no e should anya reliable intina niema bebre o ha ban ya otincha ontiase this public address system ne sa niema ye nyina making sure say ya digitize address system our houses even your friend is saying electricity digitizing nyina all in concert put together no ebe boama identification of the citizen no akonanim ebetume hu baby obia ewo aka migration say we move from how to how do we record it sa nyema ni nyina tumi koso a ene be boa yen na your interest rate no etumi aba from ta ban ye na femu de Bank of Ghana ye na but slow because we are unable to mitigate the other factors very important ebema interest rate no aba from okay about debt to GDP ratio say gayen this dia anka bibia we ye so over the 70% they say normal amount 72% and they normal amount say go omo pa na ene omo tutu wa nka ye nka ho nka problem bia ni ho so omo say we have the capacity to borrow more nti omo de nka 70 point ahin nka ye pa but me can be actual you take you over from them na 72% no you who say 72% of your GDP na ye dey debt to GDP ratio no enya mayen nti ye niema bebre ebi o ha you buy off expensive debts ebi abesia no ye koje besia e wo form ne dia betua expensive debt e wo ye record so a ye tua sika kese to just get it off and a friend of smart borrowing nti ye asa 2019 na your debt to GDP ratio no about 64.4%. Eye 2020 busue afi busue ya me kan say kra afia obi am pese obekai e wo wiase afa na nyina nya Ghana pe afia ede owene si oman biara ewo wiase mu eno na ka ho na ma eneno yen debt to GDP ratio no akosoro if you say 2020 2018 2019 started banking sector reforms eno kwa de ka over 26 billion abeka ho we share debt to GDP ratio 2019 ending na 64.4%. Until this 26 billion count no kwa to me raising ekoso. We share the combined effect of COVID. COVID the year 2020 you lose revenue to the tune of close to 13 billion because party countries we throughout the world you know almost lockdowns. A lot of industries are operating. Ebi mo kra de omanko ejuma kra. Until the expected revenue for 2020 though, it was a shortfall of close to 13 billion. And now far COVID expenditure so in the year 2020 it's over 12 billion. Until the combined effects of COVID alone at the central government level no kra over 25 billion Ghana cedis. Into the car banking sector reforms, no cry, and no cry 50 billion. And no, you're over 5% of GDP, more than 5% of GDP. So now, into and yes, I buy on and any ajihua or jijibisia. But a problem I hear koto more. And no other countries. Look, the year 2020, just under 30 countries throughout the world, and it to be post to positive growth. Ghana account. All other nations opposed to negative growth. Now, 1% growth reduction in China alone, about 100 times GDP. GDP graph. A says 200 times your GDP. 1% reduction in GDP in China. Now 2020, no money na about form. Afe na almost fefe. Almost 50 raw material what throughout the world in no because 2020 no GDP no and cost to produce nti ama demand for raw materials throughout the world akosoro and ama prices na akosoro and the container throughout the world din ya akoka Australia ama container prices are increasing to a level of see that and who the container from Asia to Europe it's around $10,000, which you best 6 months in best 4,000 5,000, and a container from Europe to Ghana it be 6,000. At those times from America to Ghana a container cost 40 foot $1,500, and the best $6,000.
Peace FM 104.3. Good to meet you.